When you talk about the Italian brand Ducati, what comes to mind are bikes which are fully fed, hunkered down and track weapons. But over the course of time, the segment of ADVs and dual-purpose motorcycles have really taken over in a big way. And that is why Ducati also had to rethink the strategy and they came out with a sub-brand which is the Scrambler, which you see in front of me. Unlike what a lot of people think that it is the Ducati Scrambler, it is not. It is the Scrambler Ducati, and that's exactly what I said. It is essentially a sub-brand, a very different kind of a motorcycle, and it is something that is going to leave you in splits because you really want to like it, but then you start riding it, you kind of understand its finer nuances, and then you kind of think that, hey, you know what, it's perhaps not what I expected out of Ducati. And that is exactly the problem. Because it's a Ducati, because it is that Italian cult brand, you want this machine and you desire this machine in a big way. And you also want it to be extremely good. But then it starts to fall to pieces. Let's get the mechanicals right out of the way. This is an 803cc L-twin engine. It's an air-cooled one and it's short stroke. But in my experience, short strokes have always been about absolute power at the top end. But this time, Ducati has done something very intelligent and it has kind of spread out the engine power delivery in such a way that you get a very meaty mid-range. And that is very unlike motorcycles that Ducati have done in the past. All their motorcycles, they've technically always had L-twins in configuration. Of course, with the V4 and the V2, they've gone towards the V configuration and now they're 4-cylinder, but they've always been in the past L-twins. And it's no different with this. So I expected this one to be like that typical short stroke motor, which was going to deliver everything right at the top end. But that's not the case, and that is actually extremely pleasing as well. Now, the other things are not all that pleasing because, come to think of it, this motorcycle has been designed as something that can go off-road, and we are technically in a slightly off-road sort of a condition. And to just get here, it's been a little bit of excitement, challenge, and in all total fun, because with challenges, you also kind of start to romanticize the bike a little bit more despite of its shortcomings. So yeah, it's been a good ride up here. But at the same time, we have to be objective, and when you start to ride and the position when you're on the road is pretty good, the geometry, the edge point is all very sorted, and the bike has extremely nice and wide bars. So you would imagine that you can actually stand on the pegs and be able to kind of negotiate the off-road conditions in a nice and confident way. But the whole design as such of the tanks, of the seats, and then when you stand up, even the pegs, it's not really the case, because when you stand up, there is nothing on the tank to give you that support and restrain you in place, and the bars are so wide that you actually feel like you're on top of the bike, and that just kind of destroys the whole element and experience of riding and does not really give you the confidence when you're on slightly slidey surfaces or in kind of tricky situations. It does slide very nicely and in a very controlled way as well, because the tires are just fantastic. I did find the tires to be a little compromised on the road, but overall it is in balance extremely good. Continuing with the riding experience, there are a couple of things that I have to highlight over here. The first relates to the seat and the second one is all about the engine. The seat is kind of weird because it's nicely padded and it always keeps you sliding here and there, and that kind of becomes a little unnerving. And the second biggest problem is the fact that the engine emits a lot of heat. And given the fact that it is an air-cooled and we have been riding it in completely open spaces, plus there is no fairing, but at the same time, the amount of heat that you feel on your shin, on your legs, just overall, it's not very pleasant at all, and that really murders your riding experience. And I think when you're doing great cruising speeds, somewhere upwards of 90-100 kilometers per hour, then it's okay because you definitely have a lot of wind coming onto you. But when you're going about in city, in fact, my colleague who rode this bike in the city and got the bike to the office, he had a nightmarish time because he had to contend with the city traffic. So the heat being generated and emitted by the other vehicles on the road, and also that your own legs were getting completely baked. So yes, in terms of heat management, the Scrambler is really not ideal. Now the other strong point of the Scrambler are the brakes, and because you're spending almost about 10 lakh rupees for this one, you expect there to be a dual channel ABS, and it has it. It also has cornering ABS system, and because we have been driving in very slidey conditions, I've not really tried the cornering ABS out, but on the road I'm pretty sure that whatever feel I've gotten through the levers, through the calipers, I have no doubt that even the cornering ABS is going to be a strong system to act in a very progressive way. And the brakes themselves, as I said, the bite is very, very nice, and you can just completely lean on to the front lever, and it's going to sort you out in absolutely any situation. So yes, the brakes really inspire a lot of confidence, and the suspension is kind of tricky because it seems like there is going to be enough travel, and it's a nice meaty unit as well. So I suspect that high frequency compression is going to be definitely okay, but low frequency and just slow speed ride as such of the Scrambler was not all that great. Off-road, again, it's not something that is going to give you a great amount of confidence because while you have immense confidence in the tires, you can't really say the same about the suspension. And one last thing that I noticed, and especially because we are riding in sunlight and the sun is almost on top of us right now, the angle of the instrument cluster is such that it kind of hits your eye in a very blatant way. So yes, be mindful of that because that can kind of blind you out sometimes. So with the Scrambler Ducati, what you get is a bike that makes a hell of a lot of vibrations because the engine, even when you're going about at very, very regular speeds, does not really stop vibrating, and you can feel it through the bars, through the seat, through the pegs, everywhere. And it kind of dumbs down the experience a little bit. But then as you gain speed and go past some serious 3-digit speeds, then your attention is only on going fast. So you kind of ignore the vibrations. But even when you're cruising around at about 80, 90, 100 kilometers an hour, the vibrations are really, really massive. So in all, concluding about the Scrambler, what you get is a fun motorcycle. I'm not going to deny that it is a lot of fun. It allows you some slip angles that otherwise would have been very challenging, and it's very controllable. The steering is extremely quick, so you can definitely play around with the front a little bit, and it's all very progressive. And because the mid-range is nice and meaty and you're on the throttle, managing that mid-range, you always, whenever you get into a slide, you always just twist it a little bit and it kind of corrects itself. So when you're in a nice and playful sort of an environment, it is a good tool to have. It is very joyous and it kind of behaves in a very natural and instinctive way with you. It almost behaves as if it is talking to you. And in such kind of situations, it's an absolute hoot. Even on the road, it's not too bad. But beyond the handling, the Scrambler could have been a much more pleasant motorcycle. It could have been a much more motorcycle. It could have been slightly comfortable. It could have been slightly more refined. And those are the qualities that you look for when you're spending almost 10 lakh rupees. Yes, you get a very iconic name. You get Ducati on the tank. But Ducati have done some really kick-ass things. And this one, it looks very special, but it is really not all that special when you're talking about things from a mechanical standpoint. And that has been my biggest concern, because I know what Ducati set out to achieve with the Scrambler, and while it is almost there, it is just not there.